Hey guys, this is Herndig. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we're going to talk about the efficiency of farming up champions. And actually, when you've got a champion training event like what's going on right now, you need to understand some of the differences and probably some of the things that people have told you don't really ring true. So one of the main things here is, where do you get the most bang for your buck in terms of energy for leveling champions? And it's actually Nightmare Campaign. Yeah, and good old Safira in HH Gaming has kind of pulled together this spreadsheet here. So this is the basic amount of energy you get per champion on 12-3 Brutal. 8,652. Each champion in the mix, even the person who's max level gets the 8,652. This is kind of known as the place to go to farm up your champions, to level your champions. And you'll see on my free to play, that's exactly where I am. Yeah, stage 12 on Brutal, number 3. The reason why we go here is because it gives you a really good energy efficiency for both silver and experience. Plus, you can do it really from early on in the game. So I was farming here from about day 25 or something like that. As soon as you've got your starter champion up to 60, and you know you're still on that kind of food grind, this is the place to go. Selling shields gives you a better return for your silver than any other type of items. That's why you go to stage 3. Plus, generally through the wave, the affinities are nice for a starter champion, so you're not really under any sort of threat of weak hits or anything like that. So stage 12-3 tends to be the place where everyone comes. These big bad boy 5-star shields give you a nice 20,000 silver, and it's as good as you can get from anything in the game. But as we look here on the spreadsheet, if you actually go onto 12-6 Nightmare, which is as far as you can go before you start beating up that city boss, then you actually get 19,536 as a base experience per champion. If you've got an XP boost going on, which we'll see on my account here, I've had an XP boost since I started playing the game. It's literally never run out. I am obviously a spender in the game, but even on my free-to-play, I've never known an account run out of XP boost, even on free-to-play accounts. So as long as you're active, it's pretty easy to keep them going. These guys are getting 23,443 experience. Yeah, so each. So it's actually quite a boost up if you've got XP boost running versus running on Brutal. So it's costing me double the energy to do that. And basically what we're looking at here is, what's the experience per energy cost? Yeah, so actually if you're running, let me just make this even bigger. If you are running 12-6 Nightmare, you will get per energy 1,221 experience versus the 1,081 experience you get on Brutal. Now, what Saf's actually done here is said, well, what about if you want to just be efficient for your time? Yeah, so if you're someone who's going to be going hard on this event that's going on right now, basically, let's say your average time taken to clear 12-3 is 12 seconds, then you would need to be 27 seconds or less to make it worthwhile XP per second. Yeah, so if we were running an 8-second 12-3 Brutal, then actually you'd need to be bringing down your average time to, what, 18 seconds to make it better in terms of XP per minute. Yeah, so, and it's only then very slim. So, you know, the hassle of farming Nightmare is only really worth it if you can get your time right down. Especially, you might have a 6-second Fellhound on the go. Then you'd need to be something like, what, 12 or 13 seconds for Nightmare Campaign to make it worth your while. So just bear these numbers in mind. You know, understand, where are you at? You know, 7 seconds, you probably need to be at about 15. Yeah, 8 seconds, you probably need to be at about 18. Yeah. So just kind of bear that in mind. But it is better experience per energy if you're just worried about experience per energy. If you're not worried about time taken and you've only got a finite amount of energy to burn, then farming Nightmare Campaign is the place to go. Now, what I did is I actually reached out to the community and I said, who have you got? Who's in the mix for you guys to farm Nightmare Campaign? Because not everyone can do it, that's for sure. And this is the list that I had come back So my ethos here, I'm actually running it through Faberstoff is RSL Helper. Yeah, so this enables me to set food. It enables me to level up food to a certain level. So you might not want to level food to max, and I'll come on to that in a minute. So basically what happens is once my food gets to a certain level, it subs it out and it throws in new food for me. It also auto sells my gear and all this type of stuff, but it also shows me the stats that I'm running here. Important things if you're trying to get a Nightmare campaign farmer in the mix. You need to be over 200 speed, because you need to go 2 times for every time the enemy goes at least once. And on 12-3 Nightmare, it's even harder. It's much harder. They've got faster champions, so you would need better gear, better stats. But I'm running a 6.3k ethos with 260% crit damage. It's a 100% comp. He's not +2 or anything like that. It's just a straightforward ethos. But he is in Savage and Cruel gear, and he does have Helm Smasher on. I saw Scratch running like a +4 one yesterday. He does it about 3 seconds quicker than I do with a +4. Basically because he's able to one-shot some of the waves where I don't one-shot them. But this is the type of gear that I'm running. Other people, and I asked the community this, other people run ethos basically sub 20 seconds, yeah, for an ethos build. Herndigs are in the mix. I'll show you a Herndig run in a second. 15 to 30 seconds. Rays, 12 to 30 seconds. Ignatius, 30 seconds to about a minute is what I'm seeing. I've done that before in the past. Basically got to run lifesteal gear on Ignatius because he will take hits. Biggin, about 30 seconds as well. Biggin does a lot of control, so he shouldn't take hits. But again, I see people running him in lifesteal gear, so maybe he does take the odd hits. Seal of the Drakes can do it, but 1 minute 30-ish in decent gear, decent lifesteal gear. Sir Nick, again, about 1 minute 30. Basically makes himself unkillable and all that type of shenanigans. So, you know, he's able to do it, but it's much slower. Mashold, same sort of thing, around a minute. I've done it in less than a minute before in my Mashold, doing the same type of thing. Because he does the AoE True Fear, and he got a lot of lifesteal built into his kit. He can do it. You might just find that you have the odd run that's unsuccessful. Shadur, the new guy that just poisons everybody. The Void Legendary doesn't let them have a turn. He can do it. And Bad L, but those kind of later ones are a bit slower. So they're only worthwhile even looking at if you've got a finite amount of energy. You're not trying to like gun best energy per second. It's more about best experience per energy type of dudes. Let me show you a build that Saphira is running on his Herndig, and I'll show you a run as well. So this is the build that he's running. 5.7k attack, over 200 speed again, 254 crit damage. And he does have some accuracy in there, I guess because that also helps landing the weakens and stuff. So that's the Herndig build, and he tends to do it. Let me show you the run. Here we go. So drops defense. His A1 kind of does that, hits one AoE type of shenanigans. So he's actually, basically he's just getting extra turns. When he kills someone with the A1, he gets an extra turn, gets another AoE away. And you can see this is going to be like probably about a 30-second run, something like that. 19 seconds, actually pretty quick. So Herndig is probably one of the most accessible champions just because it is somebody that a lot of people are going to have. But yeah, Herndig is a pretty solid one for this. When do you use your brews? How much bang for your buck do you get for brews? You should never, if you're trying to win a champion training event, and generally, honestly, just for champion training efficiency, you should never just throw a 3-star champion into another 3-star as food. Not if you're trying to get good points per item, per resource on your account. And what I mean by that, let me go to my free-to-play quickly and just show you what I mean. So even on my free-to-play, I do this, by the way, if there's a champion training event running, I'll take someone that I'm going to use as food. Let's say I was using this dude as food, Guardian. Before I level him, sorry, before I feed him, I will actually upgrade his level with some brews. Yeah, and this is something which Chosen shared on his Twitter, but it's come from Senti, one of the big brains of the community. Just a really simple tool around how many points you get for each brew on different star rated champions. Yeah, so if you've got a 3-star champion and you put 1 brew into them, you get 18 points. If you put 2 brews into them, another 10 points. A third brew, 6 points. And you see the return for brews dramatically drop after 3. And it kind of goes the same, really, depending on what star rating champion you're going for. But a lot of people will take, on a 3-star, I will normally throw in 3 brews. On a 4-star, I normally throw in 4 brews. 5-star, I actually normally throw in 6 brews. And a 6-star, well, 7 brews is pretty damn efficient to get a lot of points for your champions. But even on the 1-star champions, what I do, even on the free-to-play, and this is actually what I do normally to level up food, I will... Come on, gang. Let me show what I want to do. Just let me. Nice. I will pull my champions in terms of just getting myself some food to level up. Yeah, nothing unusual there. You'll take your level 1 champion, and I actually feed 1 brew, which will give me a lot of points anyway, but then I just feed 3 more 1-stars. Yeah, and that gives me my max level. I'll upgrade him. So if I'm trying to max out points, I could upgrade him with someone who's already had a little bit of leveling done, like this. And then we get them to 2-star. Now, if I was going to feed a 2-star into one of these level 20s, again, if I'm trying to maximize points for champion training, I would actually throw in 2 brews. Yeah, get him up to level 14. Get myself a chunk of points for the champion training. He's then ready to be fed into one of those max dudes. That's actually the way that people are kind of cruising ahead in some of these tournaments. And, if you're looking at some of the big boy scorers here, probably initially they didn't even leave the tavern. They probably were in the tavern for a long time just playing with chickens and brews. If we look at some of these top scorers, like the Swifts and, all of these dudes up the top here. In fact, I know, speaking to Rainis was the person whose account I showed before the tournament started. And, we were talking to each other and basically said he spent the majority of the start in the tavern, just leveling up the people that he had ready, throwing brews into them, leveling them into someone else, etc., etc. Basically got himself this 50-odd thousand points worth of score to start. Then he's gone into campaign and started to re-farm points up. So you'll find a lot of these people are doing exactly that. They're probably actually leveling all of their food now in campaign up to, 3 stars up to level 20 odd, 22, and then they're feeding them into their other 3 stars. And that's how people are scoring so heavily. So for some people, that's a massive waste of resources, and it is. But if you're trying to gun for, let's say you're just trying to gun for this legendary tome, actually using up a few brew or a lot of brews in the mix is well worth it to get yourself legendary tomes on the accounts. So, it's kind of like weighing up a fairly low volume, a low priority resource versus a very scarce, high priority resource. So there you go, guys. Look, probably a lot to take in that video. I will link to a couple of these things in the pinned comment, but good luck and happy grinding with your Nightmare campaign farmers.